Firstly, Christian, thank you very much for coming along to the Markets Group event today. We had a fantastic turnout. I think there was about 300 people or thereabouts. And Christian was one of our keynote speakers and spoke exceptionally well on transitioning out of being an Olympic silver medalist into the funds management, finance and investment industry. I just wanted to see from your perspective what the key takeouts for you were today, and then what you think. I mean, obviously we get along to a lot of these events, but how this differentiates itself from other events that you've been to?
I think a lot of the conversation today is clearly focusing on private assets and private markets, but I think interesting from what I saw today, there was a much more broader perspective across not only Australia opportunities, but I think global. I think down here in Australia we get confined a little bit to what we know, and we only know what we know. But certainly, I suppose coming from my sporting background and being able to compete globally, you always have that bit more global perspective on what's happening around the world. So it's great to actually see some of the bigger names, coming down here in Australia and see, I suppose, the wealth market or the private wealth market being a really important channel to offer great products. So like EQT and Cola Capital and a few of these names. So it's good to start to see them and what they're doing, because usually they've been limited to probably the institutional level, and now it's filtering down to the private client and family group level.
Fantastic. I think as one of our mantras at Markets Group is to actually let the rubber hit the road, and we're a New York based organisation, and we do try and connect people, connect the investors directly with the managers out there. So hopefully these types of things are what we're trying to do. When we connect and we have roundtable discussions, we have real investors there looking at investments such as yours and those types of things. How did you find that today with some of the roundtables or sessions that you sat in with that?
I think the roundtables were a good opportunity to get a bit more detail of what they're doing. And I think listening to some of the questions that are coming from other members of the audience, some of your peers, and that are all sort of trying to discover different opportunities and how they're doing it and what they're doing it. I think in the future it'd be great to see that ability to have more of those conversations. You try to, these days are great, but you pack so much in, which is
100%.
One is good, but two, I think in the future where we're such limited time and look after clients, we're going to do this, that. But it's good to get a spread of those, and hopefully you can take away one or two things and get deeper into it with them.
Because sometimes I think these sorts of things here, and I mean you could probably equate this to your training days, in the rowing sort of fraternity, that you have your training days, you get out there, you do all the hard work, that's what you're doing, but it's got to come to fruition at some stage, right?
Correct.
So this is where I think a lot of the hard work is done. You do your rowing and those sorts of team sports. I mean, were you in a fours? Was it a fours?
No, I was in the 8 most of the time.
So that's even harder.
It's even harder, and you have to deal with many different personality types and different people, different ages. And in some funny way, rowing investing's a bit like that. You've got to deal with different fund managers, different investments, and try and fit it all together and get the best outcome. So, it's funny that although I spent a fair chunk of my life in rowing and sport, and a lot of those learnings were great. Have been great to cross over into the financial markets. I spoke today about, to some extent, sport is binary. There's a binary outcome.
100%.
But in financial services, to some extent, there's an outcome. Just got to make sure it's not always binary. If you can get it, mainly right, then everyone should hopefully be pretty happy.
Okay. Well, fantastic. Thanks very much for your time.
All right. No worries.
Hopefully this was well worth it for yourself, and we've got our next few coming up. We've got one in New Zealand. So we can't forget about the Kiwis down there.
No, they can't be forgotten about. Our good old friends.
The Ferns down there as well. But then obviously we've got Melbourne on the 2nd of December, and I know you're a Melburnian now.
Yes, I'll be down there in Melbourne.
So we'd love to see you there.
Yes,
okay.
No worries.
Thanks again for your time.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers.
Thanks, Roger.
Thanks.